Everybody, thank you for joining me on The Free Lawyer. So let me ask you some questions. Do you ever find yourself replaying past mistakes or conflicts in your mind? Do you regret decisions you've made or resent how someone treated you? As lawyers, we're trained to analyze and reflect, but sometimes that tendency turns into a habit that holds us back. Imagine the freedom of letting go of the burdens of the past and stepping into a future where you feel truly fulfilled in your legal career. Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles. What if I told you that the biggest thing holding you back in your career is not your skills, your network, or even your competition? It's something much closer to home, your relationship with your past. I'm Gary Miles, and after 40 years as a trial lawyer and a managing partner, I've discovered the most successful lawyers are not necessarily the ones with the best credentials. They're the ones who've learned to make peace with their past. Let me share something with you that's very personal. After graduating number one in my law school class and clerking in the United States District Court for the District of Maryland, I could have joined any big law firm in the country. Big law was the ticket. Every other clerk went to big law, but not me. Instead, I chose to return to a small law firm where I'd clerked in law school. And for years, I beat myself up about that decision until I realized it was exactly what I needed to become who I am today. And that realization changed everything. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to share with you 3 powerful strategies that have helped other lawyers transform their careers by making peace with their past. These are the same strategies I share with my private coaching clients, and today I'll share them with you. Today we'll dive deep into why making peace with your past is crucial for your success and fulfillment. You'll learn why unresolved regrets drain your mental energy and impact your performance, how to release those burdens with practical strategies like journaling, reframing, and mindfulness, and how making peace with your past can lead to a more confident, productive, and fulfilling career. Stick with me, and by the end of this episode, you will have the tools to move forward with clarity and confidence. So let's talk about how our past regrets affect us and what the costs of them are. Let's talk about the hidden costs of carrying your past with you. You know, as lawyers trained to analyze every detail, consider every angle, and learn from every experience. But yet there's a fine line between learning from the past and being imprisoned by it. Here are 3 ways past regrets can drain your energy right now. First, I call it the career path spiral. You know what this looks like. You may constantly question your past career decisions. Maybe you chose a smaller firm over big law like I did, or perhaps you picked one practice area over another, or perhaps you left a firm and didn't like the way you did it, and you regret how you handled something or the decisions you made. And the trouble is those thoughts don't just come and go. They create a constant background noise in your mind, affecting your confidence in current decisions. You know, I remember sitting in my office late one night, years after making the decision to join a smaller firm. I was replaying that choice for the 100th time, wondering, what if? What if I had chosen a different path? And then I realized something profound. This mental replay wasn't serving me. It was actually preventing me from fully embracing and maximizing my current opportunities. Second is the perfect case paradox. This is where you replay past cases in your mind. Have you ever done that? I did that all the time. That motion you could have written differently. The question you should have asked during cross-examination. The settlement you wonder if you could have pushed harder on. And each of those memories creates a weight that affects your current performance. And the third and final is the relationship residue. Every challenging interaction with another attorney, a judge, or a client leaves a trace. And those unresolved feelings don't just appear. They influence how you approach similar situations today. They may make you more hesitant, more guarded, less effective, more insecure. In my work with other lawyers, I found that most of them spend too much mental energy processing past events. Imagine what you could do with that energy if you focused it entirely on the present. But here's the good news for you. That energy drain is not permanent. I've developed a specific framework that can help you transform this mental drain into mental fuel. In the next section, I'll share the exact steps to make this transformation. But before we dive into the solutions, let me ask you, which of those 3 energy drains resonates most with you? Drop a comment below. I read and respond to every comment personally, and I post this episode on LinkedIn, and if you read my LinkedIn post, make a comment there. And if you find this valuable so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And you can click on the link in the notes to set up a free coaching session with me. So now let's talk about the 3 specific keys to break free from these mental prisons. Let me share something powerful. I discovered, after decades of practice, this truth. When we try to ignore our past experiences, they actually gain strength. But when we acknowledge them purposefully, they lose their power over us. So let's talk first about the reflective release technique. And it has a couple steps to it. The first is the 10-minute morning protocol. Just take 10 minutes each morning. You can do this at home with your coffee before you really get to work. And this is what you need: a quiet space, a journal or notebook, and most importantly, an open mind. And ask yourself these 3 important questions. What past experience is taking up mental space with you today in your professional life or your personal life? What specific lesson can you extract from that experience? And how would you feel differently? What would be possible if you released that weight? And that helps you process past events and reframe your perspective. Here's how. You write about past experiences that still weigh on you. You identify lessons you learned from them, and you acknowledge the growth you've achieved since then. Let me give you a real example. Remember that decision I mentioned about choosing the small firm instead of big law? Through this technique, I learned that that decision I made when I left clerking in federal court, it actually was exactly the right decision for me. It was exactly what I was supposed to do because it aligned perfectly with my entrepreneurial spirit and gave me early courtroom experience I would not have gotten elsewhere. I became a true partner before any other law clerk did. I got in courtroom all the time. I was able to choose who I represented when I did. It was exactly what I was supposed to do. The second key to breaking free is the perspective shift method. It isn't about rewiring how you view past experiences. It isn't positive thinking. It's really what some call reframing. We look at our past experiences in a different light. And here's the process. The first is fact extraction. We need to separate facts from feelings. So let me give you that example I referred to before. When I decided not to join big law after graduating first in my class and clerking in federal court, the emotional story I told myself was I made a huge mistake. That was the emotion. But look at the actual facts. I joined a smaller firm. I got immediate courtroom experience. I built my own client base within 2 years. I had autonomy over my cases and independence over who I represented. See how different those raw facts look like the emotional narrative that I had? The second is growth identification. This is where we identify specific ways the experience contributed to your professional development. So about skills, what new abilities did you develop? What existing skills did you strengthen? What unexpected competencies emerged? Relationship impact. What professional relationships deepened? What new connections were formed? How did your network expand? Professional insights. What did you learn about your practice area? How did your understanding of client needs evolve? And what insights did you gain about yourself as a lawyer? So when I looked at my decision to go to the small firm, And I asked myself those questions. It was easy. I realized I learned how to try cases well. My skills to stand on my feet, to analyze, to argue were much stronger. I developed connections with some incredible mentors and teachers. My network grew. I learned how to be a trial lawyer and how to represent clients, and my ability to satisfy and serve my clients grew. I realized how much I had grown from my decision to go to that small firm. And step 3 is future application. And here's where the magic happens. We transform those past experiences into future advantages. How can that past experience that troubled us teach us something about our current cases? What changes can we make to prevent any other problems happening in the future? What lessons can benefit our team? And how can these experiences better serve our clients? And what growth opportunities did that event cause? If we mishandled a trial or didn't settle a case we could, what can we learn from that? How can we leverage that lesson in our practice? Every experience, good or bad, contributes to who you are today. So instead of focusing on regret, ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? How has it shaped my professional skills or my resilience? And how can I use it to empower my future? And the power of this method lies in its ability to transform your regrets into a resource, to convert your mistakes into mastery, to build confidence from past challenges, and to create value from every experience. So that was key 2. And it's so important that we learn how to reframe, to have a different perspective on those things that happened to us in the past. And key 3 is the present focused practice. We're being mindful. This is where transformation really happens. Studies show that lawyers who master present moment awareness make better decisions and experience less stress. But here's the key. It's not about traditional meditation, although that's a really wonderful thing, but mindfulness helps ground you in the present instead of dwelling in the past. And here's the mindfulness method I like to use, and it's so simple and it takes so little time. The first is the 60-second reset. Use it as transitions between meetings. Focus on your physical presence and where you are, and completely clear your mind for each task. And I do it at the end of working on every file. I take just a 60-second break. I see myself putting that other file away and getting ready for my next task. The second step is the case present method. It's to be truly present in working on your files. Focus solely on what's in front of you, the current facts, the current issues, whatever you're currently working on. Notice when your mind drifts to past cases or other circumstances and gently return to the present. And the other is the connection technique. However, you found that when you're with someone and they're talking to you, sometimes your mind is wandering and you're not really listening. I hate to admit this, but I do that all the time. I'm talking to someone. I even ask them a question. I don't listen to the answer. I say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. So during client interviews or interactions, or when you're talking with another attorney, focus on the conversation. Be aware of your physical surroundings and stay engaged with the present moment. Remember, the goal is not perfection. It's progress. Start with one small change tomorrow morning and build from there. These tools have transformed my practice and those of other lawyers I worked with, and they can do the same for you. So as we wrap up today, I want to share something personal. After 40 years in law, managing a successful firm and coaching hundreds of lawyers, I've learned that true freedom in your career is not about working fewer hours or making more money, though those things follow. It's about freeing yourself from these mental prisons that hold you back. The tools we've discussed today, the reflective release technique, which involves the concept of journaling, the perspective shift method, reframing, and the present focus practice, mindfulness, aren't just theoretical concepts. They're strategies I've used to transform my career and those of other lawyers and help them find freedom in their practice. So think about where you are right now in your career. Maybe you're replaying past decisions. Maybe you're questioning how you tried that case, or if that document you drafted was right, or if you dealt right with that client who called you was angry. Maybe you're carrying the weight of old cases. Maybe you feel stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. Now imagine making decisions with clarity and confidence, using those past experiences as stepping stones and not stumbling blocks, and finding joy and purpose in your practice again. This isn't just possible. It's inevitable when you apply these tools consistently. Journaling, reframing, mindfulness. Remember what I shared about my own journey, choosing a smaller firm and struggling with that decision for years? That experience taught me something so profound. Our past does not define our future unless we let it. Every lawyer I've worked with has their own version of the story. The question is, what will you do with yours? What will you do with your story? If what you've heard today resonates with you, I want to let you know you don't have to navigate your journey alone. I invite you to schedule a complimentary strategy session with me. The link is in the description. In closing, I just want to say you became a lawyer to make a difference, to help others, to build something meaningful. So don't let the weight of the past hold you back from achieving everything that you're capable of. The tools are in your hands. The time is now. Let's work together to create the legal career that you deserve. If this episode has helped you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content on achieving freedom and success in your legal career. Share it with a colleague who might benefit, and drop a comment below. I would love to hear your biggest takeaway. Remember this: your greatest achievements are not behind you. They're ahead of you. Let's unlock them together. Thank you for being here with me today. And as always, please be well, be safe, and be free. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Free Lawyer Podcast. Wherever you are listening, if you enjoyed what I shared, please leave me a rating and review. I would appreciate hearing more about what you like best and what topics you might like me to cover in future episodes. If you are interested in experiencing a more fulfilling and a more successful life, please contact me at www.garymiles.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me so I can learn more about you, your challenges, and your dreams. I appreciate each and every one of you, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks to all of you for your support.